Okay, this is Sarah's happy birthday reading, and there are 12 cards with 12 questions, and I started to turn over the first 3, and then I thought, no, I want to do the rest of them while I'm recording to see what comes through in real time. So this is card number 1, and the question, well, the point, or I guess it is question, of the first card is the previous year in summary. So this is the 3 of Boons or 3 of Pentacles. And some of my first impressions from this card are working hard to do your part. So you've got 3 characters in this card, and they all have their important parts in order to create this spell. And so I'm not sure which one you most identify with, but definitely being part of a team, everybody's got to do their part in doing your part. So this also can mean like sacred community, like being a part of something bigger. So this is the previous year in summary. Then you've got, what have you learned from the past year? So this is the fairy wind, but it's also called the chariot. And so I'm not sure how accurate I am, but what keeps coming to me is going with the flow of things, like getting into the flow of things as this wind is going by, that you're allowing yourself to be swept into it and feeling that energy of this movement. So what have you learned from this past year? It kind of feels like paying attention to where things are taking you. Then we've got number 3, what you aspire to in the next 12 months. So this is the King of Cups, and I was actually just reading about him the other day, and this card is about really going deep to care for yourself, that how you care for others is how you care for yourself. And so really being mindful about filling your cup up is the tone of this card. So this is what you aspire to in the next 12 months. So the next 12 months, it is a deepening of self-care. Now we'll go to, this is the 4th card, what empowers you in reaching your aspirations. So this is the Page of Pentacles. The very first word that came to me as I turned this over was curiosity. Like, one thing I know about you is you're not afraid to ask. And so that's what it kind of feels like in this card, is that he is reaching out because, that's a tasty gingerbread house and it looks really yummy. And so he's got this curiosity of wanting to know more. Plus it looks delicious. So what empowers you in reaching your aspirations? For me, especially when I think about you, I think that's curiosity and courage, and not being afraid to reach out and see what that is. That looks tasty and delicious. All right, the 5th card, what may stand in the way of reaching your aspirations? And that is the Knight of Cups. Shit. Okay, I don't know what may stand in the way of reaching your aspirations. I don't know as much about this card, so let me feel it out here. It feels like he's playing, but he's just kind of like in his head. And then it feels like there's sort of a fog coming in. The Knight of Cups. Cups are all about emotions. And then there's these 2 little butterflies back here. What may stand in the way of reaching your aspirations? I don't know. It feels like he's sitting there playing, like he's doing this beautiful thing, but he's not quite there. Like he's distracted by something. Playing this music. I'm gonna have to come back to that. What may stand in your way? Okay, more to learn. Then we've got number 6 card, your relationships and emotions in the coming year. So this is the King of Challenges, or it's the King of Swords. So swords are all about your thoughts and your thinking. So he feels very thoughtful, obviously, but steady and strong, holding ground, right? Giving it some thought, thinking through it rationally. So your relationships and emotions in the coming year. This feels like giving yourself a moment to pause and think before you act. That's what that kind of feels like. He's got this, I don't know, maybe King Solomon kind of wisdom about him. So not acting rashly, but to really give it some thought before he moves forward, or before he casts judgment. So really taking time to pause. So that is your relationships and emotions in the coming year. Then we've got your career, work, and finances. So this is Queen of Swords. She's a badass. Look at her. Weaver of Challenges, but Queen of Swords. Look at that face. She's like, fuck with me, bitch. Right? She's pulling up these thorns to protect herself if she needs to, but they've got these pretty flowers on them. She's got this white raven at her side. So again, swords are, oh, I just realized you've got the king and the queen right next to each other. So this is what your relationships and emotions are looking at in the coming year, and this is your career, work, and finances. So woo, look at them working together. They're a sexy couple. So for the queen, she's very much about discernment, right? Power. She knows her boundaries, doesn't she? Same thing, like I said, challenges are swords and they have to do with thoughts. So maybe being strategic, tactful, holding your boundaries. And this is your career, work, and finances. She's got some power there. All right, and then we've got your health and well-being. Okay, so this is 4 of Cups. Again, Cups has to do with your emotions. I get this card often. Basically, when you look at him, you initially think like he's not even paying attention to this beautiful bird down here. He's distracted. He's sitting kind of next to this nice little pond creek thing. So 4 of Cups often means like don't lose sight of the beauty that's around you. So this is your health and well-being, but also this card can mean it's okay to pause. It's okay, even though there's amazing opportunities and great things around you and all this stuff, it's okay just to stop and be. That's another thing that I get from this card is it is okay to just set a boundary and say, I just need to sit here for a minute. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. I know it's great. I know it's awesome. Just let me sit here for a minute. So that has to do with your health and well-being. So taking time to breathe if you need it, even though you've got great opportunities around you. And also it can mean, not taking things for granted, but with your health and well-being, also noticing the beautiful things around you, not just what goes wrong, but also what goes right. Then this is number 8. Oops, wait, no, that was number 8. This is number 9. Your spiritual energy and inner fulfillment. So this is 4 of Challenges. Again, we've got thoughts. 4 of Swords. So I like this card a lot because you see like all the trees around are frozen and cold and in hibernation, and then you come to this clearing, right, and there's this beautiful lush green tree with green grass around it. These berries are some kind of fruit. You've got little ribbons tied down there to the bottom. And this is a tree when you're in the middle of the suck that you can pause and take refuge. So going on thoughts, swords, when you are in the middle of like, what the fuck do I do? Like pause, ground yourself, sit under the tree, eat from the fruit, get your energy back, and then go back to do what you got to do. So this is reminding you your spiritual energy and inner fulfillment. This is reminding you that ground yourself, root yourself in your truth, in what you know on the inside, even when you're in the midst of all the gray and the frozen stuff around you. You have within you this fruit that always blossoms, and you always have a calm place to sit when you go inside of yourself. So this is your spiritual energy and inner fulfillment. So number 10 is what you most need to focus on for the year ahead. So this is Knight of Wands. The story behind this card is this, I don't know, let's call her a witch. This seeker, this knight, she knows that this flower only blooms at a specific time in a specific place. So she went on the hunt to find it with her little foxy friend. And her timing was just right, and she found it. So this for me is about perseverance and patience, and sticking to what you're being drawn to. Like, she knows she wants to go find this flower, and no matter who might say, oh my God, you're never gonna find it, it's in the middle of nowhere, it's so hard to get to, she says, nope, I know what I want. She goes to get it, and like, you can see that look of satisfaction. She found it. It's wonderful. So this is what you most need to focus on for the year ahead. So not letting yourself maybe get distracted by what other people say or what other people think, but trusting yourself when you have that vision or that clarity that you know where that flower is, and it's time for you to go on the hunt to find it because it's there waiting for you. So that is what you most need to focus on for the year ahead. And that you have friends, little buddies, follow you around. Okay, oops. And then now this is the 11 card. What will be your most important lesson in the coming year? If I could tell you how many times I get this card. I know a lot about this card. Actually got this card twice today, 2 of my readings. 5 of Boons, or 5 of Pentacles. So 5s are contraction cards. Contraction, like you're giving birth contraction. So it's the squeeze before the release. So these 2 are kind of huddled. They have like a little piece of bread or whatever. They're all sad looking. So when you look at this your card, you're like, this fucking sucks. But they have these little berries around, and then there's this whole trail that goes all the way back to this warm house. And you'll notice like the door is open and ready to receive them. They don't even have to knock. It's already open and waiting for them. But they're out here because they don't really notice it. They don't really see it. And so they're just sitting here in the cold, eating their little tiny piece of bread here. So this card can mean a lot of things depending on the situation, but this says what will be your most important lesson in the coming year. And there's a lot of ways to interpret this, but a lot of things I've got from it is be really mindful about where you are at in relation to where you want to be. Because if they would just pause and look around, they would see they are literally surrounded by these delicious berries, right? But they're just huddled with this because they're cloaking themselves up. And yes, they're keeping warm, but they're not recognizing that there's actually food over here in a warm house behind them. So be mindful about where you're at, about what maybe needs to be opened up to absorb and partake in the deliciousness that is already around you. Because if they started to look at these berries, they would all of a sudden see that those berries will take them. I don't know if you can see, there's a little trail of berries to this warm house, which is where they want to be. So what will be your most important lesson in the coming year is being really mindful about where you're at, being grateful for what's around you, paying attention. Some things, blind us to that. There's so much more I can say about this card, but I'm not going to go too far into it because I'm 15 minutes in. I'm going to post this to YouTube. So, yes. So what will be your most important lesson is don't lose sight of that because you're so focused on this. Don't lose sight of what's literally right behind you, right around you. You're covered in food, surrounded by food, but all these two can focus on is this little piece right here. So that's part of it. Also, when it comes to the contraction piece, sometimes you got to go through the suck to find the life that's around you. So when you're in the midst of the suck, it's embracing the suck, but then also knowing you've got these things around you too. So yeah, I could go on and on about this card. I get it all the time. All right. Last card. Overall, where are you headed in the next 12 months? Now, this is the World card. This is a huge card in the deck. In this specific series, it's, what is the name of my, name of this deck is the Forest of Enchantment, right? And so it starts off with one card and then this and you're going into the forest. And this is the card where you have finally emerged out of the forest. So you've been through all this stuff in the forest and this is where you emerge. So I think it's really fascinating that your last card, your number 12 card, is the world. So the question or the statement is, overall, where are you headed in the next 12 months? And the world card is huge. It means that things are opening up, things are coming together. You're reaching the end of something, which also means you're starting the beginning of something new. But the horizon, the possibility, this white stag is there to, congratulate you, send you on to the next adventure. But it's kind of a you have arrived. You've been through this serious journey. You went in one way and you're coming out another. It's a really big card in the deck. So there's a lot of cool energy around the world card. I'm sure I could say more and more about it, but I think it's really fitting that that's your number 12. Overall, where are you headed in the next 12 months? Like, all amazing things. Completion, journey's ending, journey's beginning, next horizon. You're finishing some stuff. And you're being transformed in the process. But I love that this guy is here because it means you weren't alone the whole time. You always had somebody there guiding you. So, all right, that's your birthday spread. Pretty cool. Love you.